Thank you all so much for joining us for our Tiger Talk this week. My name is Lindsay Bray. I'm the Senior Coordinator for Parent and Family Services here at the University of Memphis. Today we have Kaylin Bradford with our Student Leadership and Engagement Office and Michaela Carr, the Frosh Camp Director of Recruitment and Operations, to talk with you about Frosh Camp and its benefits for our students. So Kaylin and Michaela, thank you so much for joining us today.
Lindsay, thank you so much for having us, and to all the parents, all the students listening. Hey, y'all.
Hey, excited to be here.
So to get us started today, can you tell us a little bit about what exactly Frosh Camp is?
Sure. So when I first got to the University of Memphis, one of the things that I heard everybody talking about was this thing called Frosh Camp, right? And I'm like, what in the world is Frosh Camp? And so as I transitioned into campus, one of the things that I learned is that Frosh Camp is one of the first introductions to the University of Memphis that really helps students transition onto campus. Obviously, coming into a new environment, leaving high school and coming to college, there can be some transition issues. Frosh Camp is designed to kind of help you make those friendships, make those connections, learn about the campus resources, and really just kind of get that whole spirit, tradition, pride about the University of Memphis community going. So, Mac, what else you got?
You basically took the words right out of my mouth, but to be technical about it, it is a 4-day, it's technically an extended orientation program, so it's one of our awesome programs that we have here that basically just supports that transition into college. We expose them to some of the university's traditions, programs, resources, and we also connect them to just like some future leaders on campus while just being submerged in a diverse environment. For me, Frosh Camp was just a great way to connect with people. With just not being from Memphis, I kind of was scared and didn't know anybody, but it definitely helped me meet new friends. It allowed me to get involved at the U of M, and I got connected to a bunch of campus mentors. So for me, it was definitely a positive experience.
Awesome. So tell us when Frosh Camp is going to be this year and where is it going to be hosted this year?
Okay, I'll take this one. So Frosh Camp will be on campus this year. Just due to some COVID concerns, it's going to be held on campus, and there are 3 camp sessions. So the first camp session is going to be July 6th through July 9th, and that registration closes June 7th. The second camp is July 19th through the 22nd. That registration closes June 19th. And then the third camp session is August 5th through the 8th, and that registration closes on July 5th.
And Mac, what kind of costs are involved with this?
Yeah, so with registration, you'll go ahead and just click on the Frosh Camp website and you'll register. So the cost is $85, and what that pays for is all of the meals throughout camp, as well as some camper merchandise that you'll receive. You'll get a t-shirt, and just everything will be covered in camp. So you'll have your lodging, your camper tee, and then all of your meals will be covered. But it is that $85 fee.
You know, one of the things as we think about that fee that I think is really exciting is that we have some scholarships available for students. So we recognize that $85 could be a challenge for some families and some students. And so, you know, we're gracious to get the university's support to offer 100 scholarships for students that are interested in attending Frosh Camp this summer. And so there is an application. If students are interested in attending Frosh Camp and want to apply for their scholarship, they can reach out to our office and shoot us an email, froshcamp@memphis.edu, and we'll be glad to send that link over for students to apply for the scholarship. So there are still a couple of available scholarships available. So if anybody is interested, definitely reach out to us.
That's great, because we really do want all of our students to be able to have this experience, because it really is a very unique and fun experience. And so we'll make sure and put that email in the link below too. So y'all mentioned kind of a little bit about what Frosh Camp is, but and that it's an extended orientation. So why would a student who's already been through orientation want to go ahead and attend Frosh Camp too?
Yeah, so I think that both programs are great. One of the things about the new student orientation program that I think is really important is that there's a deeper dive into a lot of the campus resources, right? You talk a lot about financial aid, you talk a lot about academic advising, classes, scheduling, and kind of the formal administrative side of being a student. I think Frosh Camp kind of gets you back to those connections or relationships. And we focus a lot on spirit, pride, and traditions, right? And so I think the difference in the two is that we both establish relationships with the students and with the community. But I think Frosh Camp really is kind of focused on the relationship. It's focused on those connections. And we've got a little bit more time for Frosh Camp to really have some exciting stuff going on. And so Mac and I work really closely about looking at the schedule, the activities and everything that's happening. And so all of those things kind of make you smile a little bit when you think about what we're going to be doing over those 4 days and 3 nights. And so again, I would say New Student Orientation is about the administration piece. And then I would say Frosh Camp is more specifically about those relationships, about the community and all of the building blocks of that.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you have in store for students this year as part of the schedule?
Yeah, so as far as the schedule goes, we never like to get too detailed into what we do just because we want to leave a little bit of it a surprise. But typically when you get to camp, what you'll see is a whole bunch of people just welcoming you to college, just getting you started on your Tiger journey. For me, it was, again, super exciting. I love Frosh Camp, which is why I came back to SERV program because it's given so much to me. But once they get there, you'll typically come in, you'll meet with your cabin members, you'll kind of chill. We go into an introduction session, and then we'll break out each day into kind of like some talks about diversity, identity, just some campus resources. We'll go into talking about some traditions that campus has, as well as some important faces to know on campus. We also have some things that we do at night that kind of are like social events for students to just kind of get to know each other, interact, connect, and build those bonds before school starts in the fall. So yeah, it's just a lot of just congregating, kind of conversing, getting to know each other, but most of all, just that spirit, community, and pride we talked about.
Awesome. Yeah, there's some really wonderful traditions that are part of Frosh Camp that as a staff member, I've gotten to go and watch. And so it'll be a lot of fun to see those continued, maybe in a different venue, but I'm sure you'll have some great things on the schedule.
Yeah, Lindsay, one of the things that, as we're thinking about that, I had to do a lot of priming to get our students bought into doing this on campus, right? And so historically we go off to Nakomi, and it's a couple hours away, and we're secluded. And so thinking about what we needed to do this year, I think that it offers some opportunities for us to really add some elements to the program that I think we can kind of spruce it up to make the experience a little bit better. And so the students are really pumped. The student leaders the councils are really excited about the camp being on campus this year, and the ability to just do it in person. And so we've been working really hard over the last couple of weeks to think about COVID, to think about how we keep students safe, but while we also maintain the identity of the program and the value of it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm excited to see what students get to do this summer. So you mentioned counselors. So for how is that handled? So for parents out there, they want to make sure their kids are safe and make sure they're there. So you can talk a little bit about who these Frosh Camp counselors are and kind of what role they serve and where do they come from?
Yeah, well, I can definitely just start and touch base on that. So our counselors are honestly some of the best student leaders you'll find on U of M's campus. They're typically students that are very involved in multiple organizations and programs. They're typically exec on some of their programs. They're very determined and just committed to the U of M. So they're very driven. They go through, I believe we went through a group interview process and then we put them through an individual group interview process. So definitely extensive. They went through a lot to serve as counselors, and it's definitely something that they don't take lightly. They're definitely honored to serve and be able to give back to the U of M community, but they are student leaders, and they were selected very, very precisely. So they're the awesomest leaders, and I think they're going to be great for the campus this summer.
Yeah, one of the things we think about whenever we select our counselors is their leadership experience. Many of the counselors attended Frosh Camp themselves and they wanted to come back as a counselor. And others are just great student leaders that have a great experience and they want to make sure their freshmen transition into campus. And so, as Max said, they're kind of primed through a process. And so we select the best of the best. There are typically a couple hundred students that apply and we get that down to right under 50. And so I'm really excited to work with this group. In addition to their selection, all throughout the spring semester, we've done training about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've talked about sexual violence and prevention, how that impacts folks and what they can do as counselors to make sure that it doesn't happen. And if it does, how do we support our students? You know, we know that everybody comes from so many different backgrounds. And so we want to make sure that our counselors are equipped to deal with everything that comes their way. So Mac is nodding her head because she knows the rigorous schedule that we went through this year with training. But I really feel like our counselors are educated, they're trained to handle most situations that will come their way and ready to receive freshmen.
Another thing I will add about our counselors and another awesome aspect of Frosh Camp is just that it really does come full circle. So a lot of the counselors that you will see have been campers before. I myself was a camper. I loved Frosh Camp. I became a counselor, and then I loved it so much I became exec. So it's good to see that cycle and just kind of see how Frosh gives back and how people can give back to the program.
Yeah, and it's so great that we have our students who are planning this and making sure that it is meeting their needs, not just our old staffers out there. I'm calling myself old, Kaylin, not you by any means.
I'm in the same boat, Lindsay.
Well, so if a student is signed up, ready to come to Frosh Camp, got their spot and everything like that, what is it that they should bring with them for this adventure?
Yeah, so I would encourage anyone who's signed up to go to our website, memphis.edu/Frosh Camp. And if you go to the website, we've got a tab that says items not to bring and items to bring. And so I pulled that list up. What to bring: bedding, of course, we want to do blankets, sheets, pillows, the same things that you would bring whenever you move into your residence hall in the fall. Of course, towels, toiletries, soap, shampoo, showers, shower shoes, flashlight, water bottles, fans, bug spray, bathing suit, rain gear, sunscreen, a camera to capture the moment, sweatshirt or a light jacket, snacks. Of course, we'll be providing food. All of the meals will be covered in the registration. But you know, some people need a little late night snack, and so they're definitely encouraged to bring the things that they want. You know, we'll also have some opportunities to do some vending and some concessions. So if they want to bring a couple bucks just to order something or to get something to snack on, then they can do that. But again, all the meals will be provided. You know, we also, you know, I'll let Mac talk a little bit about this, but there, as far as attire, you know, we don't need any heels. We don't need any Sunday's best clothing. So we'll be doing lots of activities outside. And so we want students to plan accordingly. I would certainly encourage athletic wear, nothing fancy, because we'll be doing some team builders, some activities, and we'll be hot and sweaty. So definitely dress accordingly. And then there are also mixers that happen. And so they'll be encouraged to dress. Mac, I'll allow you to speak to this a little bit more on, you know, just some attire from that. And then the last thing to bring is really your Tiger Pride.
Yeah, for sure. And Kaylin hit the nail right on the head. The only thing I would add is to bring that bedding, since we will be in the dorms as cabins this year, with it being on campus. Those beds and mattresses and all of those dorms are twin XL sizes. So make sure when you get your sheets that they are twin XL. But as for attire, like Kaylin said, pretty much athletic wear. Please do not bring your high heels or anything expensive. It's just not worth it. But for the mixers, we do have themes at night for our little kind of parties that we have. So one night will be Rep Your High School. So you'll bring some high school attire that you have, maybe a senior shirt, anything you want to bring. We have Memphis Spirit Night. So just bring anything U of M, wear your Tiger Pride. We will give you a Memphis t-shirt, so feel free to wear that as well. And then one night we will have a night where you'll rep your cabin theme. So you'll get that theme in an email once you register. Once you get that theme, you can just dress accordingly. And yeah, just make sure you bring it so you can wear it to camp.
And Lindsay, we talked a little bit about what to bring, but we have a list of what not to bring as well. And so we certainly want to make sure that our camp is safe and that we don't have anything that we don't need. And so we definitely say not to bring any alcohol, any drugs, any firearms or weapons. This just ensures that all of our campers, all of our counselors are safe and that we don't have any issues that we don't need to have at camp. But additionally, you know, this is not a Greek experience. And so we don't want any paraphernalia of any fraternity or sorority life. And then I would say just no personal valuable things. And then probably electronics, right? We're going to be capturing the moment, but I think sometimes those those electronics, the cell phones, the gaming systems, and all of that can really take away from the experience. And so we want everybody to leave that away and then have fun with the Frosh Camp crew.
Well, those are good points of things to leave at home. I know the only unfortunate part about doing on campus is that we still have service on campus, which was one of the unique parts about Frosh Camp at Nakomi. So, but I'm sure students will be encouraged to turn those cell phones off and bring their own camera instead. They can go a little old school as we used to do. So yeah. So we did have a student question, Mac, that I think you would be really great at answering this one. So what was the most fun or meaningful experience that Frosh Camp brought to you?
Oh, it's such a loaded question because I've had so many different experiences from being a camper to a counselor. But for me, the most, I guess, rewarding and memorable experience would just be the final night of Frosh Camp. We do this thing, I don't want to get too in depth, but we're just really open and vulnerable. And I want to say that there is a Frosh magic that exists at Frosh Camp that exists nowhere else. So everybody's just really able to be vulnerable and open, and you'll talk to people that you'd probably never cross paths with in any other stance in life. But once you get there, it's kind of just like those bonds and those connections that you make are amazing. And it's something that you'll never forget. I still talk to my Frosh Camp mom and dad, or my Frosh Camp, counselors from when I was a camper. I still keep in contact with my cabin mates. So probably just that last night of just kind of saying our farewells and, see you in the summer or see you in the fall. It was just really memorable. Everybody was crying. It was crazy. So probably that night. And even as a counselor, when we do it too, it gets even more emotional just seeing everybody and how close everybody gets in such a short time. So for me, that's probably it.
That's so special. That's wonderful. It really is. I love that. Frosh Camp magic. That's a great way to put it. It really is. Well, as we kind of come to the end of our Tiger Talk, is there any last piece of advice that you have for parents as they're getting their students ready or encouraging their students to come, or anything else we may have missed?
The best piece of advice that I have is to send your child, send your kids, send your student to Frosh Camp. So we had a retreat a couple of weeks ago, and I had about 40 counselors, and I mean, the energy was so high, and we had a great day. We did a day of team building, bonding, and really just prepping for camp. And so as Michaela mentioned, the Frosh Camp magic is just always there no matter where you are. And so for me, it was awesome to see these student leaders get together and think about what they want to do and really plan on how they're going to make freshmen really make their experience the best that it can be. And so thinking about what we did a couple of weeks ago in our retreat, I know that that's going to be reflected in every Frosh Camp experience that we have this summer. So my best piece of advice is to get your students signed up for Frosh Camp and tell them to reach out to us. If anybody has any challenges about registering or questions about dates, or if they're not able to afford to come to Frosh Camp, I mean, we even had people to say, like, I'll pay for somebody to go to Frosh Camp if they can't pay, right? And so I think that just speaks to the experience and what we really want folks to get out of it. So that's my best piece of advice. Know that your student is going to be well taken care of at the University of Memphis and with the Frosh Camp program. We're really excited to go back into some in-person interactions this year. Last year was such a rough year for everybody across the world. And so I think that for students that will be transitioning to college in the fall, this is going to be something to really jumpstart their career, make sure that they have a great experience here and really find their home away from home at the University of Memphis.
For sure. Kaylin, again, took the word right out of my mouth. But as for Frosh Camp, definitely send your kids. I think with school being on campus in the fall, this is a perfect way to kind of get them reacclimated to just being social and interacting with other students and just being in an environment that just kind of promotes, inclusivity and spirit and community and pride. So definitely send your kids. If you have any questions, reach out to us at froshcamp@memphis.edu, or you can hit us up on social media. The Instagram actually has a link in it where it includes the scholarship link, the registration link, and links to just submit any questions. So if you guys want to reach that, we'll probably include that link at the end of this. But yeah, just send your kids to Frosh Camp, and I hope to see some faces this summer.
Go Tigers, go.
Woohoo. Yeah, I think that's fabulous. I will say to parents out there, I have known parents who have signed their students up not them knowing, and just literally put them in a car and drop them off and told them they couldn't go home. So always an option too, if you want to do that. But thank you both so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Excited to have Frosh Camp back in person and on campus. So I'm sure it'll be a fantastic summer and we look forward to it. So parents, if you have any questions, just let us know. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you all.